Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Sunday Live where we do a 20 question mock test and a hazard perception demonstration. As we go along, I answer any questions you guys have about studying, your theory training, any questions, concerns, doubts, and also your driving lessons as well. So if you've got any driving lesson questions, feel free to throw those in, because obviously once you pass your theory test, your next step is driving lessons, so you really want to be starting to focus on that. Ideally, do both together, learn to drive and take your or study for the theory at the same time. It just saves a little bit of time in the long run, and the theory enforces the driving enforces the theory, gives you a better chance of passing first time. So hopefully you guys have had a good week so far, and enjoying the weather. It's apparently supposed to be changing next week to a little bit of rain. So let me change to the screen and just see. We are going out live. Hopefully YouTube's not messing up anything. Right, so I've not seen your name before. User Cobbs. I've not seen that right. Good morning to you anyway. Welcome to you, to Lou. I've not seen your name before, I don't believe. I've not seen your Ati. I'm going to say that. I've not seen your name before. This is my first taste. I'm assuming that you mean that's the first time you're here, so welcome. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you come back. Let us know, for all the guys that I've just said I've not seen before, what part of the journey you on. Are you taking a test before? Got one coming up, just starting, let me know. And I can try and help you out as we go along. If you have got any questions, please put a Q semicolon. It just makes it easier for me to see it. And that way you don't have to keep typing it in again and again and again. Silent follower. Appreciate you breaking the silence today. Thank you for that. Good morning to you, Fresh Faith. I send that love to everyone else. I'm loving that. I'm Pamela. Good morning, Pamela. Welcome, Sophie. Good morning to you. All right, let me do an overview of the theory test. I've never seen you guys know how the test works. To get lots of new faces, followers, silent followers. You'd be surprised how many people join the study camp and don't know how the theory test works, which still surprised me, to be fair. You're studying for a test and you don't know how the test works. Preparing for your theory test. Welcome, first of all. When's your test? Let me know. Mary says she's early today. Cynthia, good morning. Good morning. All right, let me do an overview quickly. Theory test, multiple choice. Let me stress this. I keep saying this every single week, and I still get emails, pupils failing and saying the questions were worded differently, or there's questions that they've never seen before. The app questions are sampled questions. They are not the real questions. They're sampled. They are worded in a way to give you a taste of what the real questions could be like. Not exactly the same wording, just give you an idea of what the questions could be like and what they are asking for and what they are looking for. If you didn't know, your theory test is made up of 14 different categories. That's how I suggest you study. Do all 14 categories individually before even going on to a mock test. And your 50 questions is drawn from those 14 categories, and it's random questions. So what I mean by that, if there's 10 of you in a room, there's 10 different set of 50 questions. It's not the same. So if your friend took the test the day before, you're going to get a 50 different set of questions. So then the person to your right may get 5 road signs, the person to your left may be getting 2 road signs, you may get 3 road signs. It's just the way it's made up, and that's why I suggest you do all 14 categories individually, so you're exposed to as many questions as possible. Time wise, you got on the day, you got 57 minutes. When you do mock tests on the apps, you got 57 minutes. The other thing I've noticed as well over the last couple of months, especially from the study camp live data, some of you are taking these mock tests in 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes to get a positive result, as in passing. You doing it in 20 minutes is unlikely. If you go and do the real test in 20 minutes, again, it's going to be unlikely, because what you tend to do on the day of the test, when you do it that quick, you kind of skim read, you don't take in the information, and sometimes they've got two similar answers, one which is obviously safe, one that isn't, and because you don't take your time to read it and absorb the information, you pick the wrong answer, and that's why people fail, especially get 41s, 42, because it's just silly mistakes they've made. So I would suggest you take your time. I'm not saying take 57 minutes, but I definitely wouldn't be taking 20 minutes with that. Once you've done that, you move on to hazard perception, which is 14 videos. 13 of them have single hazards. One of them's got a double, you can score a maximum of 10. I will do a demonstration to explain what a hazard is and how to click and how to technically pass the hazard perception with ease, doing the 2-click method. What they're looking for in terms of answers is use common sense. If you don't know what the answer is, try to work it out. Sometimes you don't need to learn to drive, you don't need to fully understand the question, you've got to use common sense, because what they're looking for in their safety, which answer leads to safety or which answer leads to a controlled outcome. I'll give you an example briefly. There's a question in the study camp last week, and the pupil said they didn't know what the answer was, so they put something about using a mobile phone. And I asked her, can you use the mobile phone while you're driving? She said no. Then if you can't use the mobile phone while you're driving, why are you picking that as an option? Because that's never going to be the correct answer. So just because you don't know what the answer is, don't just pick a random answer. Pick something that's stand a chance of being correct. Mobile phone is never going to, well, there is a question that you can use a mobile, but most mobile phone answers are going to be wrong. So don't pick something that has no chance of being right just because you don't know what the answer is. So if you are struggling with your theory, I do run a 30-day study camp. As much as it says 30 days, you can stay in there as long as it takes for you to pass it, because I know life gets in the way. Not everybody could do the theory test in 30 days. But I repeat, once you join the study camp, you can stay in there as long as it takes for you to pass. The reason why it's 30 days, because 30 days is a sweet spot. Once you start to go 2 months, 3 months, 4 months studying, you're going to exhaust the questions on the apps, and then it becomes memorizing. You just, because you've seen the question so many times, you know what the answer is. So learning stops taking place. So if you study for too long, you can do more harm than good, which people don't realize. So that's the overview. Let me just quickly go through some of these comments, and then we'll do the mock test. I'm new here on the 4-in-1, and I've got a book 2. Okay, so you did an app and books. And you got the test on the 11th of June. That's just literally around the corner, isn't it? Because it's June tomorrow. So I wish you the best of luck with that. If you've got any questions, type them in the comment section while we're here live. And while you're studying, so we're here next week, your test is not until the week after. So while you, this is for all of you, while you guys are studying during the week, any doubts, concerns about questions, jot them down, make notes, bring it to the live. So that's why I go live, so I can answer your personal question rather than a generic video that try to answer it for everyone. 4th of June, right just around the corner next week, I believe. 4th of June. I wish you luck with that. Again, same thing. Type any questions in while we're here. You're new, Mary. You could just type it in once. I've seen you type it in 3 times. Just type your comment in once. Lady Debs, I've got my test tomorrow. Getting my last bit of revision with the 4-in-1 app. Hope I pass first time. I wish you luck with that. Come back next week. Let us know how you get on. Again, if you've got any last minute concerns, type it in the comment section. Let me try to send you in there tomorrow nice and confidently. But I wish you luck with that tomorrow. Good morning to you, Marcel. Just want to say a big thank you for the tips and the videos as I passed my theory test on Friday. Congratulations on passing. Well done to you. And thank you for coming to the live session. Let me know that you passed. Appreciate that. And past Saturday, done it on Saturday. Passed my conference live. Again, welcome. Welcome. Thank you for coming to the live. Let me know. My test is on the 16th, so you've got a couple of weeks yet, a couple of more lives. All right, let's do the mock test. Share screen. So those of you that are new, we read the question first. This is question 1. Please put the question number. It makes it easier for me to show it, because there's a delay between me and YouTube, you and YouTube. So always put the question number. I will show it if you do that. You're about to reverse into a side road. What should you do if a pedestrian is waiting to cross behind your car? This is A, this is B. So A and B is on the top line, C and D is on the bottom line. If you have a concern about the question, or you want to know why the answer is what it is, or you want more explanation, type it in the comment section, because once I move on from the question, I can't go back with this app. It doesn't allow me to do this on the 20 question mock test. So if you've got a question about this, any concerns about it, or any questions, type in the comment section so I can see it before I move on, because I can explain it. Oh, lovely. This from David, wishing Lady Dipsy good luck with her test tomorrow. Oh, thank you. My response to past 49 out of 50. You missed it by 1. Get the 50 out of 50. Well done to you, though, getting 49. It's really a good score. 61 is a good score as well. Please. Do I need or have the start protocols? No, you got 2 years. Once you pass your theory test, you've got 2 years to pass your driving test. I wouldn't be waiting that long, because the waiting time for driving tests at the moment on average is 4 to 6 months. So if you don't pass first time, that's almost 8 months to a year is already gone. Plus you have to learn to get to the standard as well. So I wouldn't wait too long, but no, you don't have to do it immediately. You've got 2 years. I have a confession. I know the answer, I understand, but I'm confused that maybe I don't know. I have a confession. I'm not understanding that. Are you going to share the confession, or is that something I'm supposed to? Whatever your confession is, declare it and I can help you with it. Let's see. You guys are going for C, so you can't agree on this. Let's see. Yeah, give way to pedestrians. Pedestrians always got priority. So always give way to pedestrians. So this is number 2, if I can get it settled. You're stopped at the side of the road. What must you do if you've been waiting there for some time? Watching your videos just give me more understanding, but I'm just confused. I don't know why. What are you confused on? Are you confused on everything? Just a few questions? What are you confused on? I'm doing a great job. Thank you for the... First of all, I've not seen your name before, so welcome. I should have said that first, sorry. I apologise. Welcome to the channel or the live stream. I'm getting confused about the traffic lights where trams and cars come together. Can you guide me in it? There is a tram question with that. All you got... Right, when they show it to you, the traffic light one, when they show it to you, there's one of 2 options. And when they show it to you, they always show you with the green traffic light. Just see as a car driver. So the options are 1, cars can go because it's green. And option 2, if that's not there, will be trams must stop. So they're showing you the traffic lights with the white to the right of it, which is a tram signal. And I repeat, all you got to do is see as a car driver, you're a car driver taking a car theory test. So look at it from a car driver's point of view. So if it's got the green light answer, which is cars can go, that's the one you want to go for. If that one isn't there, then it must be trams must stop, because trams and cars can't go at the same time at traffic lights because it doesn't lead to safety. Hopefully that makes sense. But it's very simple. Just don't overthink it. Don't look at it from a trammer's point of view. Look at it from a car driver's point of view, because you're a car driver. That's what you want to be. Then it simplifies it. There's a road signal that has a diagram with 2 twisted lines and a max speed 30. Please, could you help explain? Let me come back to that. I need to picture that. We're on 2, so let's find the 2s. So you guys are all gone for A. Yeah, switch off your engine, save the environment. Basically, that's what you're doing, and saving your petrol in the long run. So that is what that is, and why the answer is what it is. So number 3, that's a lot of words. You arrive at an incident. A pedestrian is bleeding heavily from a leg wound. The leg is not broken and there's nothing in the wound. How can you help? There's a road signal question that has a diagram with 2 twisted lines and a max speed 30. Please, could you? I don't know what that sign is, sorry. Is it a circle? Triangle? There's a road signal question that has a diagram with 2 twisted lines and a max speed. I don't know that sign. 2 twisted line and a max speed of 30. Is there such a sign? Or are you getting your signs mixed up with something? I don't know what that sign is. I've never seen the 2 twisted lines and a 30 in there. That's kind of confusing. Is it a circle, square, blue background, triangle? You got to give me a bit more information because I've never seen that sign. And it doesn't ring a bell to me, so you're going to have to give me a bit more info on that. My test on the 6th of June started all categories on the app, and your video is just starting to do mock tests now. That's the right way to go, do mock tests with the test 6th of June, which is next week, I believe. It's just a bit where you said, my test on the 6th of June, I started all categories. Let me just quickly explain. I'm not saying this is you, by the way, but I've had student emails coming in and I've seen it. Just because you studied the categories, it doesn't mean that you understand the categories. There's a difference between studying and there's a difference between understanding. So you've got to be very, very careful. But your mock test, which is a good thing because you're doing mock tests now, will highlight that. Because obviously if you're passing mock test, the understanding may be there. But if you're failing mock tests, it's memorization or lack of understanding. But at least the mock test will highlight any weaknesses, and that's what the mock test is designed to do. Not for you to pass them, to highlight weaknesses so you can strengthen it. But I wish you luck with that anyway on the 6th of June. Number 3. Oh, someone's got for a D there. And D as well. It's a triangle. Triangles don't have 30 miles an hour in it. Blue circles have 30, red circles have 30. Triangles don't have 30 miles an hour in it, so you're getting confused with something. Triangles are warnings. They don't warn you about speed limits. They just tell you not to do it or not to do it. I failed my tests by 1. I'll come back to that. Right, so you guys are mixed on this 3 Bs and 3 Ds. You're right with this. 3 Bs and Ds that you guys gone for. Apply firm pressure. Pedestrian is bleeding heavily. The bleeding heavily. Apply firm pressure. Sounds good. And D, dab the wound. Dab the wound to stop the bleeding. Dabbing is just like using cotton wool to stop the bleeding. Apply, it's heavy bleeding. So you're going to apply firm pressure to stop the bleeding. What they're not telling you with this, again, on the real test, they don't give you the full background information in terms of the question. They can't expect you guys to know it automatically. Let me break this down and show you why it's apply firm pressure. You arrive at an incident, a pedestrian is bleeding heavily from a leg wound. That is artery. That's what they're talking about. That's why it's heavily. With artery cuts, you apply firm pressure and get them to raise. If the other option is how should you deal with this? It says apply firm pressure. If this is not there, it's to raise the arm or the leg, because it's an arm or leg question, above the heart, because the heart pumps blood out. You're trying to stem that blood flow, so you're going to raise the arm or the leg above the heart, which is the other option on the real test as well. But you don't dab it. Dab is just like getting a finger cut. On a vehicle, where would you find a catalytic converter? Right, I'm confused and scared that maybe I don't know the answer. I don't understand, but deep in my heart, I know. You're panicking, that's what that is. You're panicking. If you know what the answer is, but you're still confused, you're panicking, which is not ideal for going into a real test, because panic will override you thinking clearly. So you need to try to calm down, basically. And that's not much I can do on a live session. When you go in there, just take deep breaths, read the questions, answers very, very carefully, and trust your instinct. You said you know the answer, but you are confused, worried, scared, blah, blah, blah. That's panic. So if you're confident with the answer, trust yourself, trust the process. And there's not much I can say to that. Just literally go in there, make sure you take your time, but make sure you breathe in between questions and answers. Triangle, red and yellow color. Triangle. It's a triangle, red and yellow color background. Triangles don't have red and yellow. That's every color in the color scheme, apart from blue. You ain't got in there. I can't answer. I don't know what you're talking about. When I finish the live session, I'll Google that, but I don't know what you're talking about. I can have an answer for you next week. But I don't know of a triangle. Triangles are red, yes, but it doesn't have a yellow background. That's confusing. Yellow comes in diversion markers. With the red circles, blue circles, triangles, which is red, they do not have a yellow background. Yellow background is normally diversion markers. And diversion markers don't have a 30. So I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not ever gonna try to lie. I don't know. I'll Google that, but I've never seen it. My 15th June, I failed my first test by 1 mark. Stop saying that. Otherwise, your second test would be a fail as well. You didn't fail by 1 mark. You need the 1 mark to pass. You got 8 questions wrong, because it means if you got failed by 1, in your opinion, you got 42 out of 50. You got 8 questions wrong. What happens is when you tell yourself you failed by 1 mark, you study just for the 1 mark. It's just the way the brain works. It's like if you're training for 100 meters, you do a certain amount of training. If you're training for a marathon, you're training a lot harder for a marathon, because obviously it's X 26 miles. So if you tell the brain I failed by 1, you would study just to get 1 more mark to pass it. Oh, I'll get it next time. You didn't. You got 8 questions wrong. When you go for the next test, it's 50 different set of questions. So if the weakness was there on the first test and you just studied enough to get the 1 mark, and those questions come up in those weak categories, you're going to fail again. So you got to see, as you got 8 questions wrong, but you need 1 to pass. You need to aim high. That way, if you fall short, you should still get the pass mark. If you aim low, fall short, you're going to fail again. So it's just a mindset thing. When people get 41s, 42s, I've missed it by 1, missed it by 2. You didn't. You got 8 questions wrong. And you have to ask yourself, why did I get 8 questions wrong? So number 4. I know it sounds a bit harsh, but you've got to give yourself we've got to be reality first of all, and that gives yourself the best possible chance the second time. But if you go in there thinking, I've just missed it, but when I get it next time, it ain't gonna happen in my experience. I'm not saying it won't, but in my experience, when someone says that, they go and fail the next test. For the exhaust, catalytic converter is something that's in the exhaust system that cleans up the fumes and give you cleaner gases coming out to save the environment. Number 5, you're carrying an 11-year-old child on the front seat of your car. They're under 1.35 meters tall. What seatbelt security must be in place? Okay, let me do with this. Annie, I'm not seeing your name before, I don't think, so welcome first of all. Pass on my first attempt, well done to you. 49, missed it by 1 as well. Magical 50. Congratulations getting 49 out of 50, it's a really high score. No problem, you're welcome. Thank you for coming to the live, let me know. Okay, to make more clear, it's a four square diagram. What's a 4 square diagram? Maybe I'm being dense today, I don't know. These 4 squares, 1 minute it's a triangle, next minute is this, I'm being honest, I don't know. The explanation you give me is not clear, and I'm a visual person, so if the information you give me is clearly for me to visualize it, I can't get there. My dyslexia just don't let me get it, so maybe I'm just being dense. No picking on you, but the way you explain it is not clear to me, so I can't picture it. Because I don't know what a 4 square diagram is. There you go again. I should say amber. It says stay in lane on top, then max speed at bottom. Sorry, I'm coming back with the question. I should say amber. It says stay in lane on top, then max speed at bottom. Sorry, still doesn't make sense to me, because 1 minute it's a square. I've still got that square triangle. I can't do it. I'm not going to struggle with that. I just can't do it. Are you talking about, so someone's trying to help you out here afresh, are you talking about a contraflow traffic system? Five. Alright, so all of you are going for B. Ooh, got a C here. I wish you luck on that's next week. Ali, Hamza, I wish you luck on that. Alright, so all of you gone for B, someone went for a C. What's B? They must use a suitable child restraint. They must use a suitable child restraint. That's a booster seat. Yeah, if this is not an option, then an adult seatbelt would be the other option. So that's always going to be your first choice. And if this is not there as an answer on the real test, then you want to go for an adult seatbelt. Something has to be worn. What must you do at this junction? Glad you feel confident, just don't be over confident that you don't read the questions carefully. But I wish you luck with that when you go in there. I'm going be easy on me. I'm going to trust myself. That's all you can do. But read the question. You can do things to eliminate your stress. And that's by reading the questions very carefully, reading maybe 2 to 3 times. Sometimes when you read the question, choose your answer. Read the question, read your answer straight afterwards to see if it sounds safe. Because sometimes when you read the question, read the answer, it shouts and screams not safe with that. So that's another way of double checking or triple checking the answer you're giving. But like I said to you, you're panicking, which is natural. Just try to don't let the panic control you. I have a question. How should I study? I've got the book and I'm learning on app as well. How should I make my time to learn and take a break? Everybody's different. I can't answer that. So you have to find something that works for you. I wouldn't use a book, but that's because I'm dyslexic, so I wouldn't be using a book. And that's what I'm saying. Everyone's different. So I would say don't use a book, but for you, you may be a book reader. So I would personally stick with the apps. There's nothing wrong with using books, but the problem with the books, if the book is outdated, it's outdated. With the apps, anything that comes from the DVSA gets updated straight away. So you've got up to date, whatever app you're using, as long as you're paying for it, should be updated straight away, regardless of any changes. If the book is X amount of, 12 months old, for example, then the book can have old information in it. That's the downside. The only book I would use is probably the highway code, because that has to be updated every time the theory test changes in that sense. And again, if you use the 4-in-1 app, I think that's the one you said you're using, that's why I recommend it. It's got the highway code attached to it. So again, if anything changes, it's updated instantly. That's why I'd recommend apps. But in terms of studying, you have to find what's best for you, because everybody's got a low attention span. So if you can study for 20 minutes at a time, that's going to be good, because you're looking for quality, not quantity. That's what some of you are doing wrong. You're doing 2 hours studying, an hour and a half studying. That's way too long. The sweet spot for studying is an hour. You shouldn't really go more than an hour. Why? Because think about it. The real test, the DVSA says, is 57 minutes. There's a reason why it's 57 minutes, because they know that's how long the brain can take and function learning stuff. 57 minutes is a sweet spot. So once you got over the hour, you're not taking information in. It's just all blurred and everything else. That's where you're mixing stuff with other stuff. So that's my advice. Do not study for more than an hour. Anything less is quality. But also set yourself a goal so you know what you're studying. That's why I say do categories. Because if you're going to do documents, you know you're studying documents. But what some of you guys do is 3, 4, 5 categories in one sitting. That becomes blurry after a while, because it's all words. Other than the road signs, it's just all words. You do too much in a short space of time, and you think that's studying. That's not. That's just looking at the app. Studying is taking information in and understanding it. 6. But you have to work out what's best for you, because as much as I say don't study for more than an hour, some people do study for more than an hour and still go on to pass. So studying's a personal thing. Did you say suitable child restraint is the answer? Yes, suitable child restraint, because they're talking about a child. That's the connection. And if that's not an option when you go for the real test, then it's an adult seatbelt. Some questions. Let me come back to that. Yeah, I'm not saying the question's not. What I'm saying is, if the book is outdated, or the DVSA changes anything, the app gets updated, the book cannot. That's what I'm saying. So if they're taking that question, you're studying the question, that's not going to come up at all in the test. If they're adding questions, the book cannot add the questions. That's what I'm saying. Any changes, let me explain this. The DVSA who set the questions keep us licensed trained. I'm a licensed trainer, and the apps are licensed. That's why you pay for it. It's licensed. So we have the right to use those questions. So if they are going to do any changes, they let the licensed trainer know, they let the app people know, and they make those changes straight away. Those changes can't be made in a book. That's what I'm trying to say about books, and be careful using the book when it was published, blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying don't use the books. I'm not saying that it's wrong, the questions will be different. I'm just saying if it's updated, it cannot be updated in a book. So you could be studying stuff that's outdated or that's not even in there. Apps will always keep it updated as long as you're paying for it. That's the point I'm trying to make. Obviously not clearly. So I just want to start these comments and come back to it. Give me 1 moment, it's not working. Right, there we go. 6B is what you guys gone for. Yeah, stop because you can't see. That's why you're stopping. Also, with this, again, because I said the apps and the apps, let me go back to this question here because this was, where is it? Some questions are not coming for the app. As I said at the beginning, I'm not going to keep repeating myself. The apps questions are different from the real questions. The apps are sample questions. With this answer here that you see here, stop behind the line. Be very careful on the David test. Sometimes they give you two similar answers. One says stop behind the line, which is this one, and the other one says stop beyond the line. So they give you two similar, and you want to make sure you're reading stop behind the line. Stop beyond suggests you're going too far. So that's why I always say read the questions carefully, because on first reading, it sounds like it's correct. This junction is controlled by traffic lights, has a marked area between two stop lines. What's this for? Right, so I'm not sure what that's relating to 4-in-1. I think documents is the hardest category, lots of information to understand. Documents is one of the easiest for the simple fact it's only 27 questions. But everybody's different. Like I said, everybody thinks differently. So it may, I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying it isn't the hardest. You may find it the hardest. But it's not, I can't remember the category now. I think it's road signs. Road and traffic signs, there's 133 possible questions on the app, that is. Documents is only 27 questions, and once you understand, like I said, it's about understanding. Once you understand, the answers are pretty much straightforward on the document side of it, because it's in the same MOT, insurance, what's the other one? Tax, registered keeper, license, the phone rules. There's only a handful of things that you need to know about the documents, and it always leads you to the same answers, if that makes sense. But like I said, it does come to the understanding. If you understand it, it's very, very simple. So I'm not saying it isn't difficult. It could be difficult for you because everybody is different, but it's one of the smaller sections, only 27 questions. And it always leads you to kind of the same options as well once you understand it. I'm studying in my app. My Pro Edit is... I'm not studying that. I'm studying in the app, my Pro Edit. I'm assuming you mean you're getting 44s and 45s. Questions approved, that passing. I think I'm ready to take it soon. I can't answer that. If you was my student, I would say no. I'm going to tell you why. For the simple fact, you just said I'm doing. As I'm assuming you're taking mock test. I'm not understanding your question fully. I'm thinking I'm just having one of those days. My brain's just not functioning properly. I'm assuming you're taking mock test 44, 45s, and that's what you're getting on a regular basis. The question I'm going to be asking is why you're not getting 48s, 49s, and 50s. If you're taking mock tests after mock test, we had this discussion last week. If you're taking mock test after mock test, it's designed to show you the same wrong answers. So if you're still averaging 44, 45 and it's not going to 47s, 48s, there's a reason why you're not hitting 47s, 48s. So are you ready to take it soon? I don't know. Based on what you're telling me, the answer for me is no. If you are studying the categories and getting 44s, 45s in between, then maybe yes. But like I said, only you can answer that. I can't answer that because you know how you are studying. Sevens. You guys have got to be very, very careful with studying and understanding. It's two different things. Studying is just literally sitting down there watching. When I say watching, as in reading the questions and saying, right, I know that it becomes you recognizing the question, you recognize the answer. Understanding is understanding why the answer is correct. So you're understanding what they are asking, and then you understand why the answer is correct. That's learning, because it's different from doing uni stuff, college stuff, school stuff to compare to driving, because you need to recall this information while the car is moving. And that's the difference. When you're studying for school exams, you're stationary, your school gives you papers, past papers. It's kind of easier to do that. So you can understand things, you can memorize stuff. That's different. And with this, you have to understand, because you need to apply in different situations when you are driving. So for example, this is a traffic light, straightforward. Do you recognize the difference between a pedestrian crossing and a pelican crossing when you're driving? Because you need to call out information just like that. So that's why it's important you understand it. Memorizing is totally different. And that's what some of you guys are still doing. You're memorizing the answers as for a test to pass it. To pass the theory test, because it's a means to take a driving test. Fully understand it. But you got to understand you're going to use that information for your driving test. If it's weak, you're going to spend a lot of time learning to drive, because your driving instructor has to fill in the gaps, which you should already have filled from the studying experience. So hopefully I'm making some sense with what I just said there. Sorry, these guys are going for 7C. No problem, you're welcome. Alright, 7C is what you go for to life cycle expression from road traffic. Yeah, so you can see them clearly, so there's no misunderstanding with that. 8. How will you benefit from following the manufacturer's service schedule for your vehicle? I ain't seen this one in a long time. Triple Dub, I've not seen your name before, so welcome. Good morning, dear. I'm a silent watcher, so you've been silent. Thank you for breaking the silence. I passed my theory on Wednesday. Congratulations on passing 47. Oh, it's 70 out of 75. Well done to you, has perception. No problem. You are welcome. Okay, we'll use the app more. I'm not saying don't use your books. I'm just giving you an example. Be very careful. Probably look at the date the book was published and go from there. So all I'm saying is just be careful using books, because the books cannot be updated. Don't change what you're doing if it's working for you. I'm just saying be careful, because technically the theory test gets updated every 2 years, but they do bring out changes during those 2 years. If anything needs changing, they do let us know. The DVSA, when I say they, and they update the app straight away or take questions out. Or if they're changing the word into questions, they let the apps know in the questions. As I'm saying, I'm not seeing this question, for example, this manufacturing one for a long while. So is that making a comeback in the real test? I have no idea in that sense. I am fully prepared from videos and apps. I wish a passer. Could you give me some important tips for passing? Study. I can't give you more than that. That's the only thing I can give you is fully understand. It's all these tips I'm saying is study and understand it though when you're studying. Make sure you understand what they are asking. Make sure you understand why the answer is correct. And the reason why, I'll tell you what, I'll show you what I'm talking about here. 8. Let's do this. Let me just find the 8. Because I don't know if you guys notice, when I'm giving you the answer, I give you a bit more information on top of it. I don't just give you the answer and move on to the next one. It's very easy to just, can you explain this question? 8. There you go. So Mary's asking, can you explain this question, which I'm going to do. People might understand it. So like I said, breaking it down, understanding how will you benefit from following the manufacturer's service schedule for your vehicle. So benefit from the manufacturer's service schedule. Every car comes with a manual. It tells you when you should get your car serviced. So for example, my car is 12,500 miles. So every 12,500 miles, I need to get my car serviced. The oil changed, tires checked, brakes checked, everything else. That's what it means. So your vehicle remains reliable, and that's the reason why. So you get your car serviced on a regular basis every 12,000 miles, give or take. You get your car serviced. They will check all the bits and pieces they need to check. It makes your car reliable. That's understanding, rather than, oh, that's the question, that's the answer, let me move on. Because if they reword it differently, the understanding will always be there. If they give you different options, you're going to know it's going to be something along the lines, your car's going to be reliable, it's not going to break down. And this is why I'm saying this is studying. And because it's understanding. Studying is just, oh, I recognize the question, I kind of recognize the answer, that's what I go for. So when they reword it on a real test, then you're struggling. You're invited to a pub lunch. What should you do if you know that you'll have to drive in the evening? So Mary, hopefully that explain it though. There you go, you said thank you, no problem, you're welcome. And that goes back to what I said here, is only studying and understanding helps passing the theory test. And my theory test last week had 58 and has perception 38 multiple choice. I had my theory test last week at 58, has perception 58. So that's fine. And 38 on the real test. That's 12 questions. That's a lack of understanding. That's a lot of lack of understanding. 12 questions, you're looking at 8 to 9 categories wrong. Questions got wrong. Which is over half, because 14 categories, 8 categories, 16. Double. Yeah, that's lack of understanding. You didn't understand. Normally, if you was 41, 42, I would say restudy the categories you got the questions wrong in, but that score suggests it's a lot of lack of understanding. You need to go back to basics. I would go back to doing the categories individually and start to understand what was asked and why the answer is going to be correct when you choose it. That's what I would do. But has perception's fine. So I don't see a problem with that. But yes, questions, definitely go back to just doing categories. But the key there, I know you're disappointed, sad, I think is the word that you use. You got data, you've taken the test, you know what it's like, you've seen some of the questions, so you know exactly where to go from there. See it as a positive rather than a negative. So you actually know how the questions are worded as well, so it gives you a better chance next time, as long as your understanding is improved. Sorry, 9D, do not drink any alcohol at all. That's the safest way. You can drink alcohol, call units, and still be under the legal limit, which is 35 micrograms. Again, those type of questions come from the real test, literally the amount that you would like to have. So 35 micrograms or less, you can still drive. But the safest way is just don't drink. Remember, the theory test is black and white. It's always about safety. So if you don't drink, you can't be over the limit. Whereas you can have a couple of glasses of wine, for example, and still be under the limit. Why have red routes been introduced in major cities? Zeta, I've not seen you before, I don't think, so welcome. When going for my driving test, do I need my passport? Weird. Nope, don't need passport, no longer valid. If you got the photo card version, yeah, that's all you need, because photo of you, that's what they were checking. Your passport doesn't cut it anymore, because technically your passport doesn't have your address on it. So all you need is your photo card. Same thing for your Theory test. That's what we're talking about. Same thing for your theory test. Just bring your driver's license, unless you got the old version of where it's the paper part. Then you need to bring your passport as photo ID. But like I said, most people nowadays have the photo provisional, so that's what you need to bring for your theory test and driver's test, for your driving test. I'm struggling with hazards perception, either clicking too fast or too slow. Can you please explain the 3-click? I don't do 3-click method, 2-click method, but it's not about that. It's not about whether you click 3 clicks or not. If you're clicking too early or too slow, you don't know what hazard is. So it makes no difference how you click. You're always going to get a low score because you don't know what hazard is. If you know what hazard is, you don't click too early or don't click too late. So it's you don't know what a hazard is. A 3-click method or 2-click method is not going to change that. I'll explain that at the end. If you can't stay at the end, watch the replay. I've got lots of videos on my channels about hazard perception where I break it down in a bit more detail. But if you're clicking too early, too late, you don't know what hazard is. That's what it comes down to. First of all, definitely not seeing them if I can't pronounce that. So welcome to the channel. 48 foot, missed it by 2. Congratulations on passing, and thank you for coming to let me know. Appreciate it. And we are on number 10. Oh, you confirmed 57 out of 75. Well done. I joined last week. I don't remember the name. Sorry, I apologise. So you're going for B. Right, B. See, I was looking at this just to raise speed. I thought, why are you guys going for to raise speed limits? Well, it's to help traffic flow. Again, I'll break it down for you. We have red routes. They can use red, yellow lines as well. Same thing. So we have red routes, yellow lines being introduced in major cities to help the traffic flow. Your traffic flow is not on. This is not the answer. You're looking for ease congestion to help ease congestion, which is the same thing. Traffic flow, congestion, same thing. That's what I mean about understanding. So you need to understand traffic flow means helping with congestion, and that's understanding, that's learning. Number 11, you're driving on a one-way street. What should you do if you realize you've taken the wrong route? Live with Cheryl. Welcome to the channel, Cheryl. From Southwark. Hopefully you got some nice weather down there. Shadat TV, welcome. I remember you from. I was talking about you this week to one of my students on the driving lessons about the conversation we had about studying and learning. So it's good to see you back. And you was part of my conversation on my driving lesson with my student as well. Right, let's do this. I'm failing my mock test because I make mistakes when I'm nervous. I know I'm test ready. I've been taking lessons 2 to 3 times a week. 2 hours of the past year and a half in advice. I'm failing my mock test because I make mistakes when I'm nervous. Are you making mistakes because you're nervous, or are you making mistakes because you're not sure what the answer is? I know I'm test ready. Let me just clarify first of all, what test are we talking about? Because you've got here, I'm failing my mock tests because I make mistakes when I'm nervous. And then you go in to say, I know I'm test ready. I've been taking lessons 2 to 3. So we're talking about driving lessons or your theory test. If it's your driving lessons, 2 hours per lesson for past year and a half. Any advice? First of all, before I give you any advice on that, let me clarify for me personally. Are we talking about your theory test or your driving test, mock test? Because that's two different things. So just clarify for me in the comments whether it's your theory test you're talking about, failing the mock test, or it's your driving test we're talking about. And then I'll come back to that. I'm having my test on Thursday. I'm a bit nervous. What can you advise? Take your time when you go in there. Arrive early on Thursday. Take your time. Read the questions very carefully. All the things I'm saying, don't change anything. You're going to be nervous. That's natural. That's fact. Just when you go in there and if you feel stressed, panicked, answering any questions, take deep breaths in between it. And do process of elimination. What I mean by that, if you don't know what the answer is, work backwards, as in look for the stupid answer, get rid of that one. But if you feel confident enough that you're ready for the test, nerves is going to play a big part. So like I said, for me, on my theory test students and driving lesson students, if they tell me they're not nervous before their test, it worries me, because you need that little bit of adrenaline to keep you focused. Use it in a positive way, not a negative way. But there's nothing you can do to stop being nervous. Don't try to fight it, just embrace it. 11. But yeah, literally just go in there and take your time. Just deep breaths. No problem, you're welcome. Sorry, 11B. Yeah, continue finding another route. You can't turn around because you'll be going the wrong way. Number 12, you're driving in freezing conditions. What should you do as you approach a sharp bend? Does it matter if my current address is different from the address on my provisional license? No, it doesn't matter. The only problem, if you're talking about a driving test, when you pass your driving test, the examiner will say to you, do you want me to take your license away from you, your provisional license? And what they do, you should say yes. And what they do is they take it away from you. When they get into the office, they destroy it and then push a few buttons, and then a new one's on its way to you. But if the address is different, they can't take it away from you, because obviously it's going to go to your old address. So you're going to need to go to the post office and fill in a couple of forms, and then send the license off by yourself. So it doesn't make a difference for your driving test. It's just that the examiner can't send your license away for you on your behalf. So if you've got time, I would change the address so everything's on point. But if you haven't got time, then don't, just leave it. Change it once you pass your driving test. I passed my theory 43 at 56. Congratulations. First of all, welcome to the channel, to the live stream. Congratulations on passing. I'm sorry, but it's the teacher in me. You got 43. Double check your categories just in case things like rules of the road signs, because you're going to need that for your driving test. Just brush up on that because you got 7 questions wrong. That's the reason why I'll say that. But congratulations on passing on that. I don't know, hazard perception. If I click on what's not a hazard and then later click on the actual hazard, does it mean I automatically get the question wrong? If I click on what's not a hazard and then later click on the actual hazard, no, it doesn't. Again, let me come back to that in a second. Driving mock test. Oh, so we're talking about driving mock test. Okay, that's fine. So let me put your original comment up then. I'm failing my mock test. I'll be talking about driving now because I make mistakes when I'm nervous. That's natural. Again, nerves is natural. I know I'm test ready. I've been taking lessons 2 to 3 times a week, 2 hours per lesson for the past year and a half in advice. Yeah, take your test. If you feel and your instructor feels that you're test ready, take it. You taking lessons after lessons because you're making silly mistakes on mock tests ain't going to change anything. Because think about it. You're doing a mock test with your driving instructor, which you said you've been taking for a year and a half. That means you know them well, and you're still making mistakes. You're going to be even more nervous on the day of the test. What you're trying to do now is on the day of the test is to control the nerves as best you can. And you're allowed to make mistakes on the day of a driving test, but they have to be minor, not S's or D's, which is serious or dangerous. You're allowed to make 15 minors. So what I suggest you do, as long as like your instructor agrees, take a driving test, because you can take as many mock tests as you want. It still doesn't mean and pass them as well. It doesn't mean you're going to pass the real test, because as I said, when you go for your test, it's a different type of pressure, and some students thrive under pressure and some don't. You won't know until you take your driving test. So me personally, if you was my student, I'll take it, because we need to know exactly how you are going to deal with a total stranger sitting next to you on test day. And as I said, you're allowed to make mistakes on the day of the test and still pass 15 minors. Just in case you guys don't know, the driving test lasts for about 35-40 minutes. You're allowed 15 minors or less and still pass. You're not allowed any S's, which is serious, not allowed any D's. So I would take it. And again, you got data, you got the experience of taking a test, you know how it feels, and you see how you cope under pressure. Most students swim, they don't sink. So that's my advice to you. Rather than keep going, because you're never going to get rid of the nerves on a driving mock test. And even if you did, it's going to come back on the day of the test anyway, so you might as well take it. And I wish you luck with that as well when you do take it. 12. You seem to move too fast with the answers. This is a live stream. I've got to appreciate people's time on a Sunday. If you want it slowed down, watch the replay, and then you can pause, rewind as much as you want. This is not for me to sit here and break it down in a minute detail. I've got to appreciate people giving up their time on a Sunday. I can't drag it out. No problem, you're welcome. 12C is what you're going for. Slow down gently. Apply parking protocols. 5 minutes back. Yeah, slow down gently. That's a weird one. How should you drive or ride in areas with traffic calming measures? Let me do this one. Hi Don, on hazard perception, if I click on what's not hazard, then later click on actual hazard, does it mean ultra? So that's where you got, like I said, you don't know what hazard is. And this question, and I'm not picking on you by the way, so don't take it personally. When you said you're getting low scores, high scores, and should I do a 3-click method, you're not understanding what the hazard perception is about. Hence your question here. So I repeat, on hazard perception, if I click on what's not an hazard and then later click on the actual hazard, does it mean I automatically get that question wrong? It's not a question, first of all, it's a video. So does it mean you get a mark or less marks, more marks? No. What they're trying to train you to do on the videos when you are watching hazard perception is to click on things that can cause you an issue, because it's not about, let me try to explain this differently. Right, in the videos, you are trying to score 5s, 4s, 3s minimum. You can get 2s and 1s, but if you average 2, 1 across all the 14 videos, you're going to fail. So ideally, you want 3 or higher. So the video has to score you from somewhere. So the videos are training you to get the 5s and the 4s. What they're trying to train you overall for your driving side of it, because remember you're going to use it for your driving. They're trying to train you to spot hazards in general, stuff that will be a problem and stuff that won't be a problem. So on the videos there will be stuff that isn't a problem seriously, but you should still be clicking, and there's stuff on the video that is the problem, that's your 5s and 4s. So they're just training you to check your mirror. The clicking is you checking your mirror. So problem, click, problem, mirror, problem, click. That's what they're training you. So there may be 3 or 4 hazards on there which are not serious, and there's one on there which is the serious one, which is you get your 5s and 4s on. So hopefully that makes sense. So you're not aiming just to get the 5 and the 4 in the video, you're training yourself to spot hazards. And if you can do that, then you should pass on the real hazard perception, because you don't know where the hazard's going to be on their video. Hopefully I made sense with that. Because what some of you, oh sorry, I've done that one already. What some of you are doing on the hazard perception when you're practicing, you're just trying to click just on the scores. That's not the way to do it. You're trying to click on hazards, full stop. Whether it gives you a score or not, it's irrelevant. Because when you take the real test, you don't know where the hazard's going to be. But if you train yourself to click on hazards, it doesn't matter, because you're going to score what you need to score. When I do the demonstration, I will show you what I'm talking about. 13D. Yeah, traffic calming measures are reduce speed, so speed hump. And you've got 3 types of traffic calming measures, just in case you didn't know. Again, like I said, information, background information. Traffic calming measures are speed humps, width restrictions, and chicanes. Those are the 3, because they can ask you to name the 3 of them on the real test. So chicanes, speed humps, and width restriction are your 3 traffic calming measures. Which road users benefit from two-can crossing? That's worded differently as well now. Benefit from two-can crossings. Can you please talk about singular line on the curb? Singular lines, there's single yellow and there's double yellows on the curb. Single yellows and double yellows are the same thing. They're for loading and unloading. Double yellows just mean you can't unload there at any time. Single yellows means you can load there at certain times. So it's for loading and unloading. To be honest, they're for commercial vehicles, your vans and your lorries, and not normally for car drivers. So that's what the singular line means. But it's for loading, that's the most important thing. Loading and unloading. Oops, just jumped on there. Are you going for A? Yeah, two-can is cyclists and pedestrians. It usually says who can use it rather than benefit. What must you have when you apply to renew your vehicles tax? Again, we just spoke about this earlier on in the session about documents section. If you look here, it's come from the documents section.
Tax.
But as I said, the documents isn't difficult. It's only 27 questions, but once you understand the bits behind documents, it follows a set pattern. Double yellows is can't do it. It's no different from double yellows, double reds at side of the road. Double yellows just no unloading. Single yellows you can load at certain times of the day. Double yellows means you can't load or unload. Right, you guys gone for... I saw they got a question mark. Soccer Mad 500 question mark. Right, so it says, what must you have when you apply to renew your vehicle tax? So, as I said with the documents, it's about understanding what they're asking and understanding the steps it comes in, if that makes sense. And again, background information. You need MOT first to get your tax. MOT says your car is roadworthy. If that is not an option, which it isn't here, then it's going to be vehicle insurance or valid insurance on this one, which is a correct answer. And then you can get your vehicle tax. I will also add on the new test, on the rule test, they don't always say vehicle tax. They now call it road fund license or vehicle excise license. They can change the wording. So they may not use vehicle tax, road fund license or vehicle excise license. But I repeat, the order MOT first to get this, but it's not here as an option. Then you're going to need insurance, and then you can tax your vehicle. That's the order. That's what's the documents. Once you understand the steps, it always leads to the same three outcomes. Getting background information. There you go. If you look at the explanation, it's got MOT here. You're asked to fetch a defibrillator, AED, which stands for Automated External Defibrillator. They can ask you what AED stands for on the real test as well. It stands for Automated External Defibrillator. What's the best way to find the nearest AED? Some late ones coming through. I failed my test last week. Yeah, discussed this. Like I said, it's common when someone gets 41, 42, failed by 1, failed by 2. I'm sorry to say that you failed. Sorry to hear that you failed. So, first of all, but you need to stop saying I got missed about. Yeah, this is why. Look, and this is why you need to stop saying it. And I can't stress this enough. I failed my theory test last week by 1 mark, got 42. Booked it for next week Saturday. The reason why you booked it for next week Saturday because you feel like if I'll missed it by 1, I'll get the 1 next week, and that's what people do. And when they do that, they go take it the following week, and guess what the result's going to be? The same, failing by 1 mark. You didn't fail by 1. You needed 1 to pass. You got 8 questions wrong. You have to ask yourself why you got 8 questions wrong. I hope that you pass next Saturday. But the stats, not to scare you, says no, because you didn't study enough. You're not going to study enough to pass it, if that makes sense. You're studying to get the 1 mark. But obviously now you know this. You've got obviously 6 days to play around with. So what I would suggest you do is definitely look at the categories you got the questions wrong in and restudy those categories really hard between now and next Saturday. But if you go in there with the attitude of just miss it by 1, I'll just get the 1 next week, it ain't gonna happen. And that's the reason why you guys have got to stop telling yourself this, because you think it's just an easy time just to get the 1. I'll book it as soon as possible. It's the same outcome, because there's a reason why you got 8 questions wrong. That's what you got to understand. There's a reason why you got the 8 questions wrong. If those reasons aren't addressed, you're going to get the 8 questions wrong the following week, the week after. You have to address the 8 questions, not the 1 question. Because remember, when you go back, it's a different set of questions. That's what you guys got to understand. It's a different 50 questions. But if the 8 weaknesses are still there, the 8 different categories, you're still going to get the same outcome. It doesn't change. So I repeat, you needed 1 to pass, but you got 8 questions wrong. That's the way you need to look at it. All right, 16. That is 16. Yep, A. 909. Yep, they got all the facilities, all of the areas for the AEDs. So they ask you for your location. They can tell you the nearest one to your location. You're about to drive home. What should you do if you feel very tired and have a severe headache? Vesify, am I saying it right? Welcome. Wow, just the videos alone. Well done to you. Not the ideal way to revise, but like I said, everybody's different. But well done, and thank you for coming to let me know how you got on. I know what you meant. See. Yeah, that's what you should do. Not a lot of people are going to do this, but that's what you should do. People will still drive through the headache and tiredness. But remember, also, this is aimed at you guys, new drivers. New drivers have a less tolerance to all of this. An experienced driver can actually handle the car tired and headache. Shouldn't, but they can. Where should you take particular care to look for motorcycles and cyclists? What do you class as a minor hazard? That's funny. A hazard's a hazard, it's not minor. But yeah, what do you class as a minor hazard? Sorry, the answer to your question is yes. It is safe to click on hazards that don't exist. So let me rephrase that. It is safe to click on as you class minor hazards. What do you class as a minor hazard is the question I got to ask you. It doesn't mean anything, but it's just funny that you said minor hazard. But yeah, the answer to your question, yes, you can click on other stuff if you like. And that's fine taking me back, as long because my aim is for you to fully understand, remember, so I don't mind going back again and again and again, as long as you get there in the end and pass with us. I don't mind. But it's funny that you said minor hazard. Yeah, A, sorry, junctions. Right, again, background information, more detail. Someone else going too quick, I'm gonna give you information. Anyway, where should you take particular care to look for motorcyclists and cyclists? Junctions, because they're harder to see. And the other question to follow up on that, they can ask you why should you take particular care, and obviously, like I said, hard to see is going to be the obvious choice, but if that's not there, you're looking for door pillars. The door pillar is the bit where the front windscreen and the two side panels, because they block out cyclists and motorcyclists. So that could be that follow-up question: why is it harder to see? Because the door pillars block cyclists and motorcyclists. You're joining a motorway from a slip road. How should you deal with traffic already on the motorway? Remember, if you've got any questions, feel free to jot them down in the comment section. Let me answer that before we sign off. That is a lesson altogether. That's something I can't do on the live stream because that's diagrams. I'll do that in the study camp because we talk about trams on... When do we talk about trams? Tuesday, when we do road signs. When we do road signs and road markers, I talk about all the tram signs and all the questions and trams, but that's not something I can do. Yeah, because I do it as a class. For me to teach you about road signs for trams, that's diagrams and all sorts. We'd be on there for about 3 hours if I did that. Uh, 19B. Yeah, the key here is safe gap. Even though, again, you all seem to got it right, 19B. Stop at the end of the slip road and look for a safe gap. That sounds safe because it's got safe gap, but you're stopping on a motorway. That can't be safe. And this is why I say read the question very carefully and read all the answers carefully, because at first glance with safe in it, it's got safe here as well. Carried along the hard shoulder. You know you can't drive in a hard shoulder. Yeah, so this is obviously the safest one, even though it's got safe in there. That's why. But like I said, if you guys skim read, you may just click one of these by mistake. And that's why I can't stress enough. Take your time when you're in there. Who's responsible for the vehicle? Sorry, who's responsible for paying the vehicle tax? And again, this is documents, is it? Yes, documents. So like I said, the document section, 27 questions, very easy once you understand the basics behind it, because it leads to the same outcomes. And I'll give you a little tip on this one when you guys answer it. Who's number 20 already? I can't remember who said it was. The documents is a hard section. As I said, I'm not knocking it because it may be hard for you, because obviously everyone finds different categories more difficult than others, but once you understand the principle behind the documents, it always leads to the same MOT, insurance, tax, in that order. And I'll give you the little tip on this one when you guys answer it. So it just makes life a little bit easier with documents. As I said, it always comes to understand, because once you understand anything, it always makes life a lot easier. Oh, it's pumpkin music, so it was you. So, you guys gone for A on this one. I'm going to put her back up. I'm assuming it's her. I'll put them back on. Let's not assume genders. Right, so with, like I said, with documents, we had the document question earlier on, so it's always going to be MLT first on that previous one, then insurance, and then tax. It's always going to be in that order. MLT, cars roadworthy. Insurance says you're allowed to drive the car on the road. Tax says your car could be on the road. When they come to this one, this is always going to be the answer. So as long as it's got the registered keeper of the vehicle or keeper of the vehicle, that's the answer you're always going to go for. It's never going to be the owner of the vehicle, because the reason why it's never going to be the owner of the vehicle, because if you buy your car on finance or lease your car, the finance company or the leasing company owns your car until you pay it all off. But you will always be the registered keeper. So and when they ask questions, who's responsible for this, who's responsible for that, and it's got a registered keeper of the vehicle, that's the answer you always want to go for. If this is not here, then it's going to be the driver of the vehicle. That's why I said, once you understand the principle with documents, it always leads you to the same outcome. Boom, boom, and the documents, MOT, insurance, tax. And that's the ones it really comes down to. So hopefully that helps you out with the documents for future reference. So as I mentioned, at the beginning, your test is made up of 14 different categories. This is only a 20 question mock test, so it's not going to give us all 14, but you've got 8 categories, so just a little bit more than half. And this is how your questions are made up. So that's what I'm saying, 20 questions, and if you look at safety in your vehicle, they're giving us 5. And the reason I'm showing you this, because there's a comment. I just realised safety in your vehicle is 5, and hazard awareness 5. Now, just for argument's sake, say I turn around and I failed this. I don't know what the pass mark's got to be. 17. So the pass mark's got to be 17. So let's just say, for argument's sake, I got 16. Right? I tell myself, I missed it by 1. I booked my test for next week, but my weakness is 5 questions: safety in your vehicle, hazard awareness 5. Now, if they give me the same amount of questions, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get the majority of them wrong, so the outcome is safe. And the reason why I'm showing you that, 2 people's already mentioned it, and this person's just come on again, not picking on them, but I like to teach you guys from real examples where possible. I lost twice by 42 points in multiple choice. I lost twice by 42. In other words, I failed twice by 1 mark. And that's exactly why you don't say to yourself, I missed it by 1. You've missed it by 8. You got 8 questions wrong. So what you're now doing is told the brain, I need to work harder for the next test. Missing it by 1, you book it for the following week, the same result, because the weaknesses is still there. Nothing's going to change in that time. I still got 5 wrong. I got 5 wrong. You have to address all of these. So I now, if I got 16 on this, because it's 17 to pass, I need to address why I got the 4 questions wrong. Once you address the 4 questions and you got a better understanding, you have a better chance of passing. But if you haven't addressed all 8 of them, 42 minus 50 is 8. You're going to, if those 8 questions come up with something similar, you're going to get the same result. And that's why you do not say to yourself, I missed it by 1. Yes, I needed 1 more to pass, but I missed it by 8 because I didn't get 50 out of 50. So hopefully that makes sense. But Supreme, I'm not picking on you. I just want to use you as a example for learning and teaching, because I see it so many times. It's really kind of frustrating that you guys are so close to passing, but you make it harder for yourself by failing, if that makes sense. Just put the extra mile in. Right, let me come out of that first and go into this so you guys can see. Get rid of this. Right, so it was you that said hi. Welcome. There's quite a few of you guys on Saturday. Not this Saturday, gone. I think it was last Saturday, bank holiday weekend. Yeah, me on Kings. It's nice talking to you guys as well. Stopping me and saying hello. It's really weird getting stopped and people saying saw you on YouTube, or I know you from YouTube. Because you guys know me, obviously I don't know you guys, but it's nice. Oh, well done to you. That's brilliant. I got 47 more choice. That's so good. And to actually meet someone who actually passed the test. Well done. Thank you for coming to the live and letting me know. I appreciate that. Yes, so true. I need to address all the categories that make up for a test. No one is. Yeah, but you got. I fully understand that no one's mentioning it, but you got to think to yourself, look, what most of you do is this: you get the app and you go straight to the mock test, because you know most of you know is 50 questions on the real test, so you do 50 questions and then you take it. And then let's just, for argument's sake, you take a mock test. You got the app, download it, took mock test, and you got 41. Then you take another mock test and then you got 43. And then a couple of other mock tests, you got 45, 46, you're passing. You only got a handful of questions. The reason why they put the categories there to show you how it's related to driving. and to show you the categories where it's actually filed away, if you like, so they know, like we did documents, road signs, boom, so it's sectioned off, so it makes it easy to understand and learn. Now, if you're only doing X amount of mock tests, even, all right, let's just say you did 10 mock tests and you passed all 10, that's only 500 questions. 10 times 50 is 500. The app is 774 questions. You haven't exposed yourself to all the questions. And remember, the questions are sampled questions and not the real questions. So when you go for the real test, you're going to see stuff that you haven't seen before. So your best possible chance of passing is to expose yourself to every single question on the app. And the only way to do that is to do each individual category. I don't mean you get up tomorrow and you do documents, and then you move on to, I don't know, awareness, has an awareness. Then you go into road signs. I don't mean do it that way. What I'm saying is you do documents. You read each question and you answer every question. And then if you got, because this document is 27 questions. So if you got 24 out of 27, you need to understand why you got the 3 questions wrong. Literally understand why you got the 3 questions wrong. And then go from there. Maybe take another test, 27 questions, and see if you can get 27 out of 27. And only when you fully understand that, you move on to the next one. And you do the same thing again and again. I don't mean you just go through the categories once, do a test, you got 50 out of 75, then you feel like you can move on. You need to be getting almost 100% every time you do the categories. And then you move on to the mock test once you've done all 14. Now, the mock test highlights the weak areas. Because now if you get 45, if you're using the 4-in-1 app, I don't know about the others, but if you're using the 4-in-1, you got 45 out of 50, it tells you your strongest category and it tells you the weakest category. And guess what? If it tells you your weakest category is road signs, you go back to the road signs categories and fill in the blanks, the weakness. And then when you take another mock test, that road and traffic signs should not come up again as a weak category, maybe something else. And that's how you strengthen. But you guys do mock test after mock test. Mock test gives you a false security, gives you false results. It doesn't show you how good you are or how bad you are. It just says that you can memorize what you've done before. Mock test shows weaknesses, so that's why you take mock test. It doesn't show you strengths, it shows you your weaknesses. If you don't get 50 out of 50, there's a weakness. If you get 49 out of 50, there's a weakness. You've missed it by 1. So fill in the 1, because that 1 question could be the difference between you passing on the real test and failing, because the questions are worded differently and there's going to be questions you've never seen before. Their database is between 1,500 and 2,000 questions. The apps is only 774 questions. There's a massive difference. Expose yourself to every question possible out there, but make sure you understand it. I'm sorry to go on, but it's just like I said, I want you guys to pass, and if I have to go deep for that to happen, then I'll go deep. Right, sorry, let me just check to make sure there's no other questions in here. Right, let me do hazard perception. Oops, maybe I'll drink on my table. I'm just loving this, so I'm going to put this back up. Yeah, I just think that's amazing. Actually, according to the past. Right, let's do this first. So, let me, oh, you came up on this, I'm going to put you up as well. So let me just quickly show you. All right, I totally understand. Thank you, Tori. No problem. I'm still going to use you as my guinea pig. So the ferry ties in with your driving, and your hazard perception ties in with your driving, which is the mirror. So this is what I want all of you to know. So this is your driving test report sheet. So this is your driving route. Let's do it this way. Anyway, leave it like that. So this is your driving test report sheet. Pass or fail, you'll get a copy of this. Let's get rid of this so you can see the whole sheet. So we had, did we get road signs? Didn't get any road signs on it, I don't think. Well, you got rules of the roads and you've got documents, which doesn't come from there. So incident accident. I didn't get any road signs, and that's crazy. But anyway, The driving test is about safety and controls. On your left hand side is the control side of your driving test. So most of you would have your gas. For those of you doing manual, you'll have your clutch, gears, foot brake, hand brake, and steering wheel. Doesn't really come into your theory test. They talk about coasting on the theory test, but it doesn't really come into tell you on that side of things. But now on the middle section is safety. This is where you come in. You make your safe decisions, whether to go, stop, whatever it is that you need to do to make the driving test safe. So traffic signs, road markings, traffic lights, traffic controllers, other road users. That's your theory test right there, basically. Red triangles, blue triangles, lines on the road. Someone was trying to explain to me about yellow and something 30 miles an hour twisted lines. I can't remember what it was now, but I couldn't understand that image or picture with that. But that's where it comes in. Following distance, it's dry. 40 miles an hour or more. What distance should you leave? 2-second gap. So when you're taking your driving test, it's pouring down with rain. You're on a 40-50 mile an hour dual carriageway. What distance should you leave? It's a 4-second gap or double. That's the box it's going to get marked in. So when you're driving along, the examiner's watching you apply your theory test, all of this. Junctions, observation. We had the one, why should you look out for cyclists? So when you come to a junction, the examiner's looking, are you really checking for cyclists and motorbikes at junctions? That's where it comes into. Use of speed. What is it? Dual carriageway, national speed limit on the dual carriageway 70 miles an hour, single carriageway 60. So do you know your speed limit signs for the particular road? That's where it comes in, use of speed. Pedestrian crossings, we had toucan on one of the questions on here. So box 24, pedestrian crossings. Parking, on your driving test, you get parked up on the left a minimum of 3 times. Uphill, downhill, level gradient. But when he says to you, I would like you to park us somewhere safe and convenient, it's your decision. Are you parking near zigzags, Bravo Hill, more than 10 meters away from junction, not on a school keep clear sign? That's where you're being assessed, box 25. And now for Patricia, I think it was Patricia, let me just double check that. Yeah, so has a perception. Mirrors, box 14. Before you signal, change the direction, change the speed. So that's what your hazard perception is trying to highlight. Not signaling though, because you can't see that on the video. So that's eliminated. But change the direction, change the speed. Now a hazard, let me come out of this. A hazard is anything that's going to cause you to slow down or change direction. Now on the videos, they've got one what they call potential. The one. Potential hazard. Could have been, but it wasn't. That's the one you can click on as well, Patricia. And the other one is the developing one. That's the one you're going to score 5s and 4s. So on the video, there's a combination of developing and potential. And they want you to click on both because they're training you, as you now know, to check your mirrors when you're driving live. So every click represents you checking the mirror in real life driving. So hopefully that makes sense for everyone when it comes down to hazard perception. So let me just double check these comments before I move on. I'm doing it right now. From my experience, I think I was in a rush and we memorized them. For question, again, I mentioned this near the beginning, why would you be rushing? I've seen it too many times. Too many times, even in the study camp where I see them, because I can see how they studied, when they studied, how long they studied for, and they're doing it for 18 minutes, 20 minutes. And I'm thinking, well, why are you doing a 50 question mock test in 15, 20 minutes? It makes no sense. Not unless you want a positive outcome. If you want to fail, then fine, go ahead and do that. But it makes no sense. Why are you rushing? Especially when you've got nowhere to go to. You're in the room. You're in there you paid for the time as well. So you're just reducing the time you paid for failing. That's what you just did. Go in there, take your time. Memorize memorizing answers, that's standard because everybody does that, and you've got to try to come out of the habit. So that I can't hold you responsible for, but rushing, ask yourself why when you paid for the time. I'm reading and trying to understand the questions so I can understand them well. Don't neglect the answer though. You still need to understand the answer and different options. I think we had one with the red route, and it was to was it help traffic flow? I think the answer was, and the other spin on that is to ease congestion, which is the same answer. It just worded differently, similar to one that you done last week. I can't remember what the question was last week. I think it's about trams, and you said I knew what the answer was, but it wasn't there. So you need to understand the other alternatives, and that's what understanding is. But like I said, it's standard. You guys are memorizing answers, and I fully get it. I've seen it over 10 years while trying to teach people the theory test. I fully understand it and I fully get it. But you have to come out of the habit. You're not trying to memorize it. You're trying to understand it because you need it for your driving lessons or driving tests, as you just seen from the report sheet. So let me just share my iPad again. So now you know what a hazard is, anything to cause you to slow down or change direction. The way you want to think about this, especially for those of you taking driving lessons, if you feel that you need to use the brake in the video or you need to move the steering wheel left or right, click. That's how you want to be doing it. So you think about that, I need to be using the brake here, I'll just slow it down. I need to move the steering wheel to get out of someone's way or change direction of the car. Then you want to be clicking. That's how you want to see it. Click, but go for 2 clicks. 1 click and then go 1, 2, and then click again. Not 1, 2. Literally 1, 2, and then click again. The reason why you're doing that, because on the end of the day, the videos that they're showing you, you've got to treat it like a game. That's the downside of it, because you have to get a score. It's not about you seeing the problem. You have to get a score. So by beating the system, click twice, and you're almost guaranteed of passing, providing you know what a hazard is. If you don't know what a hazard is, you're clicking random. So you have to get a score. So to beat the system, go for 2 clicks. I think Patricia mentioned about 3 clicks. If you're going to go for 3 clicks, it's the same. You click once and you go 1, 2, click again and go 1, 2. But now you should get better scores because you now know what a hazard is. So let me demonstrate that. 4-in-1. So even I use the 4-in-1 in my car when I'm teaching students and demonstrating. Right, so I do a real life clip because they're harder to see. Let's just do this one. This one is 20. No stars. So scan the road ahead from left to right when you are driving and watching the video. There's a car on the side road up ahead, so I'm going to click. Car turning into the side road. I'm going to click again. And the reason why you're scanning from left to right, because the signposts are on the pavement, which are clues to what you might need to do. School kids are on the pavement as well. Lots of school kids. I'm going to click. Again, kids there right on the edge of the pavement, so I'm clicking for those. Traffic lights have just gone to red, so I'm clicking because also I'm slowing down. I need to check your mirrors first. Ooh, 3 out of 5. Could improve. Always look for improvement, so always watch the video back. So let me just speed up for the sake of the video. So let me just show you something. I don't know if I can stop at the right time. There's a yellow circle. There's a pedestrian. It's hard to see because real life. That's potential. But that person is not about to cross in front of me. If they was near the edge of the pavement, I'd think about clicking because that suggests they're looking to cross. But because she's on the pavement properly, that's why I didn't click for that. So there's no chance of me hitting her. But what I've clicked for was the car coming out the side road. Now you can see, look, too early. I saw the car and I've clicked. So that's the car, silver car coming out of the side road. That's why I clicked for that. Then you've got the next car, I think it was a 3, turning in, and that's why I clicked for that one. That's a 0 outside of that, but I got a 3, which is most important because you want to average 3 or more. So let me just rewind that back so you can understand it. I saw the problem of the silver car. Check my mirror just in case it pulls it in front of me. For that problem. Now this car's turning. That's why I clicked for that. Another click. I'm going to let it run. This is for Patricia to show you. Go down a bit further. Let's see the click. There it is. So the reason why I've clicked here, because you've got the school kids right on the edge where the previous pedestrian at the beginning of the video, there was no chance of me hitting them. With the school kids standing there, I don't know if they're going to pull out in front of me. And that's the reason why I've clicked for the school kids. And it's circled yellow as well. So it's potential problem. Not a problem, but potential. And that's why you check your mirrors on potential issue, because you don't know which one is going to turn into the problem. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me just go back to these. Yeah, but you got experience now because you now realised that 1, you rushed, and 2, what was the other one? You memorised some of the answers and questions and answers. So like I said, you got experience. So all you got to do now is undo what you just did. Don't rush it, don't memorise, and then you have a better chance of passing second time. I know you guys want to pass first time, and it's ideal to pass first time, but you got to learn from mistakes. So if you don't pass first time, try to work out why you failed, which is crucial. That's self-development. And then once you understand that and you already isolate the 2, you rushed it. That's the first thing. And then second could be, what did you put? Understanding, memorizing, not understanding. But in saying that, rushing could play a massive part, because if you're rushing, you're already misreading the question and not giving yourself a chance to understand. So the understanding may have been there, but because you rushed it, you don't have the chance to take in the information to digest it. So that could be the biggest issue. But like I said, you already identified it anyway. Slow yourself down. And the one thing I will also add as well, you can't switch on and off, because what some of you are doing is rushing it at home, 15-20 minutes at home, and think you're going to go into the test center and take half hour, 40 minutes. It doesn't work that way, because the brain is used to now doing 15-20 minutes. So what happens if you take longer than normal, than the brain's used to, it starts to second guess itself, it starts to doubt itself and change right answers to wrong answers. That's the reason why you study at home the way you should do for test. So when you take mock tests, you should do it with no distractions, just like the real thing. 40 minutes, 45 minutes, if that's how long it takes. So when you go for the real test, it's natural. You guys are doing unnatural stuff. You go for do it at home 15-20 minutes with the TV on, music in the background, go for the real test, and it's totally different. If you click once and then count 2 seconds and then go for a third click. No. I'm not saying you got third click there. I don't know if you meant to do third click or 2 clicks. Either way, it's two counts in between clicks. So if you're going to go for a 2-click method or a 3-click method, it's still. I didn't say seconds either. I did not say seconds. Be very careful with that. I just said count 1, 2. I'm not adding seconds in there. I literally said count 1, 2. And then click again. I never say seconds. If you watch any of my videos, seconds don't come into play. If it happens to be 2 seconds that I'm counting, so be it, but I don't put seconds in there. But anyway, the point I'm making with the question, no, a pattern is all the way through the video. So if you're doing a 2-second click through the whole video, and the clicks are spaced out that way, then yes, it's going to see a rhythmic pattern. But because I'll show you the video, it makes life a lot easier. Let me get rid of this. So if you take a look at my video, the video at the bottom, you've got blank space at the beginning before the flags. And then after the 4th click, where I got the 3, there's a massive blank space. So it's not rhythmic. So they know you have to click something, but they're not. that's not a rhythmic pattern, not even close. Rhythmic where it's consistently through the videos, or maybe spamming. You're doing 6, 7, 8 clicks on the one problem, because there's no need for you to be having 6, 7 clicks on the one problem. So that's how they will see that. But also, Lady Debs, don't be afraid to practice at home and see how your app does it for you. That's the whole point of practicing. You're practicing so you find an exact method that works for you on the day. What you guys don't understand, when you're practicing at home, you're practicing your arts. I hate using the word perfect, but you're perfecting your arts for the day of the test. That's all you're doing. It's just trial and error. If you're not getting it right, try something different. If it doesn't work, try something different. And then you find the right method for you that you can use on the day of the test. That's the whole point of studying at home, to practice how you're going to do it on the day. You can't do, like I said, practice with music, the TV on, the family in the background, and then go for the real test. The brain's not used to that. Silence when it goes for the test, it's going to freak out. Practice in the same scenario to make it as realistic as possible. Sorry, let me just do these ones. After the car that moves to the side road, would it be necessary to click for the car in front of you that stopped? That's a good question. Yeah, I could have clicked. I could have. Let's just see if it did. Let's go back. Did it actually? There's nothing. Yeah, I could have. There's nothing wrong with that. Because if you watch the video, I slowed down and I had to change direction. So it's a possibility. There's nothing wrong with that. See, the video virtually come to a stop there if you watch it carefully. To squeeze through. Then he's driving the pavement and then carried on. But I didn't see it as a problem because I was already slowing down from this issue, if that makes sense. So I was already slowing down from here. So I wouldn't, for me personally driving, I wouldn't do another mirror check because it's in the same scenario, if that makes sense. But well spotted though, that's a perception. So let me just make sure there's no other. The Patricia seems to have got it. Mildred, hello, passed 1 month ago. Congratulations on passing. Yeah, I figured what she meant, but it still comes out. It wouldn't be a rhythmic because I'm only clicking on things that exist. If you click on things that exist, it can't add up to too many clicks. If you're clicking on things that you can't hit, for example, let me go back to why the video's up here. It's a good learning thing. If I go, I know if I can find it. So for example, if I'm clicking on stuff like this, there's no chance of me hitting her. So if I'm clicking on that and then other stuff like that throughout the video, for example, yeah, it's gonna add up, it can add up to too many because there's, like I said, there's no chance of me hitting that. Let me just go through here. Again, if you look here, the kids on the sides, there's no chance of me hitting them because the car's in the way. That makes sense. So again, it's not necessary for me to click. All the kids that's walking on the left, there's cars there. So unless I'm swerving massively, there's no chance of me hitting them. So that's why there's no clicks there. But with these kids coming up now, the reason why I clicked here, because they're exposed. If they step off the pavement, I'm going to have to slow down or change direction suddenly. And that's the reason why I clicked for these ones. So, like I said, don't be afraid to practice at home. That's the most important thing. But try and do it in a realistic environment. So like I said, take your time, not 15, 20 minutes, no music, no TV, no family in the background disrupting you. I'm practicing at home and passing, done many, but one video running said there's a pattern and scored me a 0, so it's me worried. You click too many times for the problem. And if it's one video random, don't stress over it. Don't get me wrong, if it's 14 videos and 9 or 10 of them are telling you there's a problem, then you got a problem. One video, you're still passing. I wouldn't be worrying about it. I think if you watch some of my videos that I've done with Has Perception, I think I've got 2s and 3s. Don't worry, because I know over the 14 videos, I'm going to average more than my 3 per video, so I'm not stressing over if I get a 1 here, a 2 there, or a 0 there. If I'm getting 1s, 2s and 0s on a regular, then there's consistency, then there's a problem. But once or twice here or there is not going to be an issue. Should I time myself when doing mock tests? No. The question is, why are you timing yourself? You go, what you do, the test is 57 minutes, so you can't go over the time. You can go under, but you can't go over the time. There's no point in timing yourself because you're not going to have a clock in the room itself. What you do, you take the mock test knowing you're giving yourself 57 minutes in total. So you're not doing it because you're going to leave the house in half an hour to go to work, or you're doing it within lunch breaks or anything like that. You're doing it because you've got the 57 minutes in total to do it. And then what you now do is take the test naturally. Do not watch the time. And if it takes you 15-20 minutes and you're failing, there's a reason for it. And if you're taking 40-45 minutes, now that's a proper good time. So that should suggest you're reading the questions, you're reading the answers, you're breaking it down, you're trying to understand it, you're working backwards, you're looking for clues. You can't do all of that in 15-20 minutes. What you're doing in 15-20 minutes is read the question, gone for the answer, boom, moved on. Sometimes you've got to look for clues in the answer. Sometimes you've got to look for process of elimination where it can't be. This takes time. That's why when someone says to me, I've done it in 15-20 minutes, I know what the outcome's going to be. If it's a pass, it's a low pass, 43, 44, because it's too quick. Watch the videos when I do mock tests. I know I'm filming it, but I'm breaking it down. Literally breaking down. There's times when I'm doing the live stream, you see me read the question 2 or 3, well, partly because I'm dyslexic, but I read the question 2 or 3 times. Sometimes I read the answer to make sure. I'm still doing that after teaching this stuff for 10 years, but you guys don't do that, and you're doing it for 5 minutes. So that's what you got to ask yourself. Take your time, but don't time it as in put a clock on yourself. Just if you're setting the mock test has already got a time on it. Don't put any pressure on there. All right, sorry, let me do another one. I'll just make sure there's no comments on there. Right, so shit, I've had a bit of help. So let me do a CGI because they're pretty more clear and crystal. That's a nighttime. Nighttime. Let's do this on those stars. Right, so I'll do a commentary again. Again, looking well ahead, nothing going on. Scan the road from left to right. Look in the side road because cars can come out of the side roads. So there's nothing there. Again, going, scanning left to right, right to left. Again, there's nothing going on, so nothing for me to click. Again, clock the side road just in case something comes out. Again, all good. Again, coming up, another side road. Car. Didn't stop. The pedestrian's well on the pavement, that's why I didn't click for the pedestrian. The car coming towards me is clearly on their side of the road. If it was over the white line coming towards me, then I would click less space, less speed. Get another side road. To the left and to the right. Nothing to the left, nothing to the right. Then try to look beyond the car as well so you can see down the road. Just again, oh, 5 out of 5. So look down the road as well, so look beyond the car, not just watch the car in front, because you can see things coming. So again, you can see there's nothing coming. Let me just speed it up for the sake of the video. So there's nothing in the side road, so there's nothing to click literally on that video. I think it's only 2 clicks that was required. So as soon as I see the car, and there's my second click. So 5 on the first click, 3 on the second one. 5 out of 5. They always give you the highest mark. So the car coming towards me, I did mention that. Let me just rewind that back a bit. The car coming towards me is clearly on their side of the road, so there's no need for me to click on that. If it was over the white line on my side of the road, I would click, because as driving, we as instructors, we say less space, less speed. So the slower you go, so the tighter the space, the slower you should be driving. But there's no click necessary for that. And there's nothing else on the video. There's literally 2 clicks for the whole video. I've got it circle. I don't know why it's got it circle. Maybe because it's driving too slow. But yeah, there's nothing else going on. So only 2 clicks required. So like I said, if you click on things that exist, it will never add up to too many stuff. But if you click on random stuff like the side roads for no reason, then it can add up to too many. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, practice. And if you're still struggling, come back next week. Tell me what your struggles are, and I'll try to give you peace of mind for it next week. Just make sure there's no other comments on that. Same thing with studying. When you're studying at home, is there any particular questions you want explained, any answers you want explained, jot them down, bring it next week. And I'll try and clear it up for you. But with images, try to make your image questions clear, because the one we had at the beginning was very, very confusing. I didn't understand it. So try to make your image questions clear, because obviously without the image, I need to try to picture it or visualize it. You usually say on the theory test there are 5 questions. I don't give a number. That's not me. There are 5 questions you've never seen before. How would I approach the questions when answering? I don't give a number. I said there may be questions that you've never seen before. Because remember, it's random. So you may get lucky and get similar questions that you see on the app. But I'll never say there's 5 questions, because I don't know what they're going to give you. But the answer to your question is this. What's the theory test about? You usually say the theory test questions you've never seen before. So what's the theory test about? The theory test is about safety and control. That's exactly what I just showed you on that green sheet, the driving test report. It's only safety and control. And apply common sense. So work backwards. If you don't know what the answer is, get rid of the answers it can't be. There's always a stupid answer. And now the example that I used at the beginning of the training session, where I can't remember what the question was, but she said I didn't understand the question. So she chose the answer of a mobile phone. So I asked her, can you use a mobile phone while the car is moving? No. Then why are you choosing an impossible answer? You just eliminated that question is always going to be wrong. So if you don't know what the question is asking, you don't understand it, that's fine. But go for an answer, get rid of the answer it cannot be. It will never. There's one question on this that says you can use a mobile phone. Just in case you don't know, you can use a mobile phone when it's unsafe to stop. So the question is, when can you use a mobile while the car's in motion? In other words, when the car is moving. The only time you can use a mobile when the car is moving, if it's unsafe to stop and you're phoning 999 or a 112. That's the only time. Outside of that, you can't use a mobile. So that's a stupid answer. Get rid of it. You're now left with 1 in 3. So even if you took a guess at that point, you got 1 in 3 chance of being correct, which is a better chance of being 1 in 4. So if that's how you work, you just literally bring it back down to, does the answer that I'm picking lead to safety? Does it lead to control? If the answer to both of those are yes, that's going to be the right answer. And then use some common sense behind it. Like I said, common sense, you're not going to pick a mobile phone answer. And that's how you work it out. But if you understand what they are looking for, safety and control, which you already know because I told you that, you just need to work out which one of those give me a safe outcome or a controlled outcome. And then that should lead you to the correct one. I repeat, but you can't do that in 15-20 minutes. If you're going to break things down, you can't do that in 15-20 minutes. So if those of you doing test in 15-20 minutes, you're going to get a negative outcome, which is a fail. Do you need to click for a stop sign on traffic light? Do you need to click for a stop sign on traffic light? That's how perception we're talking about. That's a good question. To me, I'll be honest with you, that depends on the video and the circumstances. Would I click on red lights on the hazard perception? It will depend on the situation of the video. So I can't say yes or no. Will it do any harm you clicking on the red light? No, because it is, you're going to be slowing down. Remember, hazard, anything that calls you to slow down or stop Sorry, slow down or change direction, not stop. Slow down or change direction. In this, that's a good question, Zia. I'll be honest, I would say for you guys, and I'm going to clarify why I'm saying you guys. For you guys studying, I would click on traffic lights if it's red. For me, because I'm seeing it from a different perspective, remember I'm seeing it from a driving instructor's point of view, I probably wouldn't, unless I know it's going to be a major danger to me. On the video, I wouldn't, because I've got my reactions and understandings a lot better than what your guys are. So because you guys are learning it, I would probably click on the red traffic light if necessary. But it's not going to do no harm, because it's, if you click on things that don't exist, a red traffic light exists, if that makes sense. If you click on a zebra crossing with nobody there, that doesn't exist because there's nothing to slow down for. So traffic light is red, you are going to be slowing down. So long-winded answer is, yeah, for you guys, I'd probably click on a red traffic light. For me, I'd pick and choose depending on the video, because like I said, I'm seeing it from a different perspective. I'm a driving instructor. It's hard to see it from a learner's point of view, if that makes sense. Hopefully that answers your question. That's a good one though. I don't see any more comments on this. I'm assuming everybody's happy with has perception. But as I said, practice. Don't be afraid to mess up. If you're getting ones, twos, learn from it. That's the whole point of doing it. Think about it. If you're going off and doing a mock test and you are getting 41s, 38s on a mock test, that's learning. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're doing has perception and you're getting ones and twos, that's practice. Remember, if you're passing it straight away as soon as you pick up the app, then should you be picking up the app or should you be booking a real test? You have to start from somewhere, and it's all about improvement. So you're not going to get it right first time out, and that's what the practice at home does. So don't be afraid to mess up at home. The time you don't want to mess up is when you go for the real test, because obviously you want to be on point. But, and saying that, I'm going to leave it there for today. I've got a training session with these guys in the study camp soon. The 6th of June, that's next week. I wish you the best of luck with that. Please come out next Sunday, let us know how you got on. I would appreciate that. But yeah, definitely good luck with it next week. And take your time, read the questions carefully, read the answers carefully. Don't panic if you feel stressed in there. Just sit back in your seat, relax, take some deep breaths. 57 minutes is a very long time to do the test. So don't answer questions when you feel stressed and freak out. Flag it, move on, come back to it when you've got more time. But the most important, just take your time and breathe. Just breathe, 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 breathe while you're in there. But Soccer Mad, you're welcome. No problem. Lady Debs, good luck. And Soccer Mad, you're welcome. Yeah, so be safe out there, whatever the weather decides to be next week. Most importantly, for those of you who've got a test coming up, I wish you guys the best of luck with that. Remember, when you're studying, do not be afraid to write down your questions that you may have about it. Bring to the live sessions. That's what I'm here for, to answer it and try and put your mind at ease. All right, have a good day. Enjoy, and I shall see you guys next Sunday.